You'd assume the story of a professional footballer's life before and after the game follows a pretty predictable shape. A kid from nothing works his way up, gets his moment in the spotlight, and then either fades into coaching or ends up doing punditry on a Saturday afternoon. That is true for maybe 90% of players, but scattered through football history, there are a handful of stories so strange that you have to remind yourself they actually happened. And one of them belongs to a Brazilian named Carlos Enrique Raposo, a man the football world eventually nicknamed Kaiser. Before all of it, Kaiser was just a kid with decent technique who got picked up by Botafogo and then Flamengo as a teenager, trained alongside future stars, and by 16 was released for the simple reason that he was good but not good enough. Most players in that position quietly drift into amateur football or walk away from the game entirely. Kaiser did something nobody had tried before. He decided that if he could not actually play professional football, he would simply live the life of a professional footballer instead. And for the next 2 decades, that is exactly what he did. He signed with Puebla in Mexico, Ajaccio in France, and club after club back in Brazil, including Vasco da Gama, Bangu, and America. And here is the part that still sounds impossible. Even when you say it slowly, he never played a single official match for any of them. He faked hamstring injuries on command. He paid teammates to kick him in training so he would have an excuse to sit out. He befriended Romario, Bebeto, and Carlos Alberto Torres in Rio's nightclubs so that their names alone would vouch for him. And he even carried a fake mobile phone around just to look like a man agents were fighting over. For 13 years, on paper 26 years by his own account, he lived like a superstar without ever kicking a competitive ball. And when he finally admitted the whole thing publicly, football did not cancel him. It turned him into a cult hero with a documentary and a book. Kaiser was not even the only man to pull this off, because a decade later, a Senegalese player named Ali Dia managed something almost as absurd in a single phone call. In November 1996, Southampton manager Graeme Souness picked up a call from a man claiming to be George Weah, at the time the reigning FIFA World Player of the Year, insisting that his cousin was a serious talent who deserved a trial. Souness signed Dia on the spot. Weah has no cousin named Ali Dia. There was no international career, no Paris Saint-Germain appearances. None of it was true. And yet, 12 days later, Dia was actually sent on as a substitute for Matt Letizier in a real Premier League match against Leeds, lasting 53 minutes before being hauled off again, with Letizier later describing it as watching Bambi on ice. Dia vanished from the club within 2 weeks. One phone call built an entire career, and one half of football match ended it completely. Now flip the story around, because the after football chapter can be just as bizarre as the before. Thomas Gravesen spent years as one of the toughest midfielders in the Premier League, earned a move to Real Madrid to play alongside Zidane and Beckham. And when his career quietly wound down in the late 2000s, he did not become a coach or a pundit. He moved to Las Vegas and became a professional poker player, sitting at high-stakes tables against some of the wealthiest gamblers in America, and by some reports built a fortune worth more than he ever earned on the pitch. Around the same time, former Barcelona goalkeeper Jose Pinto walked away from 2 Champions League winners' medals and reinvented himself as a hip-hop artist under a stage name, releasing full albums under his old shirt number. Djibril Cissé, never short of flair as a striker, became a touring DJ, performing alongside Mariah Carey years after his last competitive goal. And on the quieter end of that same spectrum, one Belgian international simply retired, opened a greengrocer's shop in his hometown, and spent the next decade weighing vegetables for regular customers who had no idea a former professional footballer was serving them. What ties every one of these stories together is not talent or trophies, it is the same idea seen from opposite directions, that the version of a person's life before and after football rarely looks like what you'd expect. And sometimes the strangest chapter is not the one where they were playing the game at all,